Live from the Business RadioX studio inside Renaissance Bank, the bank that specializes in understanding you. It's time for North Fulton Business Radio.
And hello again, everyone. Welcome to yet another edition of North Fulton Business Radio. I'm John Ray, and yes, we are still on the air. We're still here. I mean, even though times are crazy and chaotic, we're still here. And we're not in the Renaissance Bank studio, so we can be safe and our guests can be safe, but we still love Renaissance Bank, and they're still open for business, folks. So, and you are connected more than ever, whether it's your friends, your family, or your life. Renaissance understands how you bank, and they understand you need mobile banking services, particularly right now. And they've got all the mobile banking services that you need for your business and your life. But they also have 190 offices around the South ready to serve you as well. So check in with them and check out the great people there at those Renaissance Bank offices. Renaissance Bank, understanding you, member FDIC. So today's we've got a great guest and some big announcement. Rick Higgins, he's with TeamLogic IT, and Rick has. We'll get to his announcement in a second, but Rick, welcome. Great to have you here.
Thanks, John. Really glad to be here and appreciate this opportunity to speak to you and your radio audience.
Yeah, absolutely. So for those that don't know TeamLogic IT, give folks an overview of what you do. How do you help them?
We're in the business of helping small to medium sized businesses solve business problems with technology. So managed services and basically everything soup to nuts, from cybersecurity issues to cloud solutions to even really simple stuff like email and in particular security associated with email. So anything along those lines, we do really. Well, go ahead. Well, that's the end of that.
Okay.
That question,
Okay. Awesome. Well, and I've heard you say before, if it plugs into the wall, that you help folks with that, right?
That's the tagline. Yep. If you plug it into the wall and call it technology, we'll support it.
I love it.
Yeah.
So, I think people are aware of this, I think, but I'm still surprised at how many folks are out there with an old version of Windows, and thinking that they don't need to upgrade, and thinking that, the hackers aren't after me because I'm just a little small business here in Atlanta and they're never going to find me. What do you say to somebody like that?
So the hackers, the method in which they use to make money, and by the way, in the area of cybercrime, that is a business that pays. That's where crime pays. And they do not care if they hit an individual or a sole proprietor or a Fortune 500 company. In fact, they actually prefer to hit a medium to small business. Or a sole proprietor.
Why is that?
Because the larger the entity, the more power and ability they have to come back at you and to fight and to roll in, the resources like federal government agencies and things like that if they're really big.
Sure.
So,
gotcha.
Whereas you and I as small business owners, we don't really have the ability to do that. We'll just, Lord willing, that we put some kind of business continuity in place, and we can just cut bait and move on and rebuild what we've lost through encryption and then stay in business and not lose our business.
Sure.
So the Atlanta Journal 3 Sundays ago had an article about, and they profiled a doctor's office in I think it was Ohio, might have been Kentucky, that the doctor, who was of a certain age, decided he was just going to go ahead and retire. So 15 people lost their job on that day that he just decided he wasn't going to pay the ransom. He wasn't going to try to rebuild, and he needed to go ahead and declare bankruptcy and just go out of business because he lost, 30 years worth of digital medical records to a ransom situation. It's all encrypted. He had no hope of getting it back. And, for the sake of, a few $1,000s, really, he could have prevented that. So all those people lost their job, which is the saddest thing of all. I don't really care about the doctor because he was the one that made the bad business decisions that led to it, really.
Right.
But I feel bad for the 15 people who lost their job.
Yeah, that's terrible. That's terrible.
Yeah. Well, that was in the Atlanta Journal 3 Sundays ago.
Well, so Rick, we've got to talk a little bit about what's happening right now, because what's happening, with all the coronavirus chaos that's happening, it doesn't really matter what you think about how long that's going to last or, whatever. I think we're beyond that. Yeah. I mean, we're in the middle of it, right? So you got to deal with it. So I'm sure there's a temptation for businesses to try to look to cut their costs. What do you tell people about IT and, the risk of cutting back on that?
So today is March 19th of 2020. And on Monday this week, so that's 3 days ago, we inked a brand new contract. Much to my surprise, quite frankly, I thought that our pipeline was just going to defer through the end of this process. But we inked the deal because we have a cloud solution that's going to facilitate this particular company, facilitate their ability to stay in business through working remotely with our cloud offering. So
congratulations.
The value proposition of what, thanks. Yeah, I'm very, very surprised. Very surprised. We jumped right on it to onboard them, as quickly as possible. We're able to do about 98% of the onboarding remotely, and which they appreciated. They want distance themselves just like we do.
Sure.
We are going to have to go on site to put a firewall in their office, and we're just going to plan that out to be on site at a time when they're not even there.
Right.
So we'll go in. We're going to put on the rubber gloves. We're going to bathe in germ gel, and we're going to go on site and get that firewall put in. But everything else we can do remotely.
Right.
So the value proposition of what we do is still there, maybe even more so than ever. And we did not see that coming. None of us saw any of this coming, but we didn't see that through our cloud offering that the value proposition would be there. The clients of ours, not everybody has these solutions. So the clients of ours that do have the cloud offerings, and there's multiple different levels of cloud offerings that we have, are in the best shape right now for business continuity. And they're not seeing any shutdown in their productivity level whatsoever. In particular, the CPAs that we work with right now, who are just in the throes of tax season right here, coming up to the last few weeks, notwithstanding any type of delays that the federal government's going to offer.
Right.
But they're just chugging and plugging, and they're able to work from home, from anywhere, from a cabin, remotely. What doesn't matter, as long as they've got some internet access of any kind, they're able to stay in business.
And as you say, I mean, you help people work remotely and do so securely. So one of the things that I read here recently that I thought was interesting was, and it was Harvard Business Review. So this was no cheerleading kind of publication. I mean, this is Harvard Business Review, and what they said was that hacking attempts, all the bad guys out there, their activity goes into a fever pitch in times like this because of the chaos, that they've got more opportunity to take advantage of people while their guard is down and while they're, not really focused on their IT situation.
Yeah. So the bad guys are really good at fooling people with what I call spoof emails. So, let's say you got a 20-person firm, and I'm using this as a non-specific example, a 20-person firm, and the CEO, they spoof the CEO's email, send an email to their accountant, bookkeeper, either, an outsourced accountant or in-house, doesn't matter, and says, hey, we need to wire $5,000 to XYZ. Mm-hmm. Here's the routing number. Get this done before you leave for lunch today. And then they have been watching that CEO's traffic, so they know how to spoof them, not just the signature, the digital signature of their email, but also the tone and the wording that that particular CEO or president uses to communicate with his or her staff. Mm-hmm. So there's some clients that we get on board new that have just been hacked and have lost money, and or became aware that, hey, this is happening, and how do we get rid of these jerks they've taken over our Outlook accounts, our Office 365 accounts. How do we get rid of them? So we get hired. We get calls every week for that type of scenario. Right now, 40, maybe as much as 50% of ransomware is coming in to any size business through email.
Oh, wow.
So when we're in a high state of flux and chaos, as you say, from the words that were used in that article that you're quoting, mm-hmm. people are, under stress, and they're looking at less and less detail on their emails. They're more apt to click on something, whereas in the past, perhaps they wouldn't have been as prone to click on it.
Yeah.
So yeah. This is crime thrives in chaos.
So now is not the time to let your guard down, folks.
That's right.
Don't be penny wise and pound foolish. Make sure you got somebody like Rick on the job, on your IT job. So you mentioned you've already given one answer to this question, which is folks that are particularly good fits for you, businesses that are particularly good fits for you. Obviously, anybody that wants to work in the cloud, and that's a lot of different businesses right now, that's a fit, and wants to do so securely. But talk about clients that are particularly good, you work well with particularly, and maybe you can tell us a success story. We always love hearing those.
We have a very interesting and unique client that's a private country club. I'm not going to mention their name. I'm not allowed to. And they have a point of sale system that they use for collecting money, or collecting chits, I guess they call it, for their lunch area, and also the tea huts that are out there on the different keys around the course, and at poolside, from the tablets, and for the servers who do, and the wait staff that manages the pools and the rest of the country club activities. And we are able to serve that point of sale system with our cloud offering. And it's kind of neat, because previous to us coming on board and bringing in this particular cloud offering to them, they had to have servers at every location. And so we did away with that, and did away with a lot of maintenance. So we saved them probably about 50% just from changing the way they're computing, and all that hardware went away. And in our business, the servers are the diesel engines of the computing business. PCs and whatnot, and laptops are the cars, and the diesel engines are the servers. And what that means is they're really persnickety. They're tough to maintain, and they're prone to problems. So they require a lot of hands-on, require a lot of support. If you can put that server into the cloud, then you can create some really heavy-duty efficiency that you can then pass along to your client. In addition, there's no safer way to compute than in the cloud. So you can rest assured that through high levels of redundancy that are available and through multiple gates of cybersecurity, it's very tough for the bad guys to make a brute force attack into a cloud server of any kind.
And something tells me this is kind of like locking your car. You lock your car and make it hard to get in your car or your home or what have you. That's right. So that the bad guys go down the street and find somebody else that's not so protected, yeah. Right?
You do not want to be the low-hanging fruit, right?
That's right. You do not want to be the easy mark, right?
No. So again, back to the way bad guys are doing it is they're just disseminating their ransomware out there blindly, just sending it out there. Now there are, with these spoofing concepts that I brought up, those are what I would consider a brute force attack. There's somebody that's specifically focused on an individual or a couple of individuals, and they recognize that, hey, this is a way that they do business. They like to do wire transfers. There's a lot of that going on. Let's make a deliberate attack on them and once that wire transfer goes out, it's over. You can't go get that back.
Right. Right. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly. And then I will say this too. There are a lot of people, including some major cities and municipalities around the country that have been attacked by ransomware, and they've paid the ransom. And then about 30% of ransoms that are paid result in no decryption key. So there's about a 30% chance that you pay that ransom, you're getting nothing back anyways. So we do not recommend ever paying a ransom of any kind.
Gotcha.
If you got caught in some kind of phishing scam or something like that, and then the word gets out with the dark web that you're a sucker who will pay a ransom, guess what? Now you're going to have some people that are going to hyper focus on you in the worst kind of way. And you don't want that. You don't want that kind of attention.
For sure.
The tools that we put in place facilitate business continuity. And what that means is instead of being down for however long it takes to rebuild a server and recreate from a backup, could take days. So our business continuity solutions get you spun back up within minutes. So you lose no business time.
Good stuff from Rick Higgins. He's with TeamLogic IT. Rick, this is great. I've got to ask you, because we were talking a bit before we came on the air about what we like about being a small business owner. You had some interesting things to say about that.
What I like best about it is that we've got a staff, because we've scaled up pretty quickly. This is our 5th year of business. We've scaled up pretty quickly. We've got a staff that has children in private school and or college, that have house payments, mortgages, that have car payments. And previous to us starting this business with nothing but just an idea, none of that economic engine existed. So I'm really proud that we've been able to create a wealth machine that's putting people to work, and that is putting kids through college.
Right.
And we're providing health care, and we have 401k with matching at our particular firm. And those are things that are not very common in the IT world. So, we want to be the number one IT firm in Atlanta where people want to work. And by doing that, we're going to get the right people that ultimately will turn into clients looking to do business with us, because that's a place where the employees are really happy and content. It's the thing that I'm the most proud of, this thing that I like the best about being a small business owner. And I'll tell you this, John, up until the last couple of years, I didn't see that coming. No one had ever told me that that's something that is going to happen down the road. They were just like, hey, follow this game plan A through Z, and chances are you'll be, successful, or at least we'll put you in the best probability to be successful. And so that was where I was at, just in the grind, but I didn't really take a step back to look and say, hey, what have we accomplished? What's really meaningful of what we've accomplished? And that's the thing that I'm most proud of. And my wife as well. And she's a big part of this business as well.
Wow. That's inspirational. That's awesome, Rick. And that's just simply a recognition of, if your employees are happy, then your customers are going to be happy.
That's right. And that's what's happened. And it's really paid off. I mean, we've, again, the first few, any small business person will tell you, I know there's a lot of small business people listening. They'll tell you that those first 2 or 3 years are a real grind.
Yeah.
You come out on the back end of that, and, Lord willing, you come out successful on the back end of that. And the thing to take stock in is what you've done for the people that you've employed, not just yourself and, whatever you've created for your family, but what have you done for the people that you've employed? Yeah,
that's an inspirational and awesome story from Rick Higgins. Rick is the owner of TeamLogic IT here in the Metro Atlanta area. Now, Rick, you've got a big announcement, an exciting announcement that involves Business RadioX. Why don't you let everybody know what's coming down the pike here?
In your studio, and we are launching a brand new radio show called IT Help Atlanta. And we're going to be focused on small businesses, not just around Metro Atlanta, but around the country, and how in particular they use technology to succeed. So the show is going to be sponsored by TeamLogic IT, and we're going to bring in, a mix of clients, friends of clients, friends of friends, that type of thing, and to come in and tell their individual stories. And the question I intend to ask everybody is what you just asked me, and is, what do they like best about being a small business owner? That's going to be my favorite question, that's for sure.
Yeah, that's awesome. It's so you're really we're excited about it because we love telling the stories of business and the great work that they're doing, and that's what this show is all about. So we're excited to get it out there for everyone.
Thanks, John. Thanks for this opportunity. I'm really excited to be working with you and your particular studio, and the tools that you've set up to facilitate it are just really, really interesting. Obviously, we're hardcore nerds over here at TeamLogic IT, so we like all things technology.
Well, that's a big compliment coming from you, pal. So I appreciate that, cause your stuff. So thank you for that. But we'll again, folks, IT Help Atlanta, is the name of the show. And, it's, we've already got, one show that's going to be out here soon, and 2 great guests on that show. And so look for that, hosted by Rick Higgins, TeamLogic IT. So Rick, this has been great. Want to make sure though that people that, if you've kind of hit a nerve with them on their IT issues, want to be in touch with you, tell them how they can do that.
Best thing to do is to go to teamlogicit.com/R Higgins. That's RHIGGINS. It'll take you directly to my particular outlet. TeamLogic is a franchise corporation with over 200 offices, and the main site, teamlogicit.com, you can get a little bit lost in that. If you put the /R Higgins, it will take you straight to my particular shop. We're located in Northeast Atlanta. We serve all of Metro Atlanta, and we're going as far north as Gainesville and as far south as Henry County. So we're all over the place. We also have a lot of clients that are outside of Metro Atlanta, and we serve them remotely. They tend to be subsidiaries of clients that are headquartered right here in Metro Atlanta. But we serve them all over. We're working in, I think, 12 different states now besides Georgia. So we're doing a lot of work remotely and leveraging the power of the TeamLogic network, with the 200 offices that are out there. That's
terrific. So that's great, Rick. It's been a pleasure having you. Looking forward to your show, and we'll be getting that out there soon, folks. So Rick, thanks again.
Thank you.
So, folks, just a reminder, you can listen to this show every Tuesday morning live at 11:30. We also have special shows like this one. Sometimes we pop up through the week. But if you miss any of our shows, you can find us on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Google Podcasts, iHeartRadio, TuneIn, Spotify, Overcast. Do you get the idea, folks? There's a whole lot of podcast platforms we're on. We're on all the major ones. So check us out at northfultonbusinessradio.com, and you can find our archive of shows there. And also we're on social media, and we post all our shows there on Twitter, Facebook, and LinkedIn. North Fulton BRX is our handle on all those three social media platforms. So for my guest, Rick Higgins, I'm John Ray. Join us next time here on North Fulton Business Radio.
Renaissance Rewards Extra is the checking account that checks all the boxes. Roadside assistance? Check. Cell phone insurance? Check. More than 400,000 local shopping discounts? Check. Up to $25 per month in ATM refunds and a great rate? Check. All in an easy-to-use mobile app. To open an account or find out more about Renaissance Rewards Extra Checking, go to renaissancebank.com or visit us at any of our more than 190 locations throughout the South. Renaissance Bank. Understanding you. Member FDIC. Equal housing lender.